Awesome. I think we're live.
Oh, I think we are too. Oh, well. Welcome, mental health family. Wasn't sure if we were live again or if we were alive before. So hopefully we're alive. We're alive. Yes, we are alive, but we are live. But
Yeah.
welcome to Mental Health Monday. We're so happy to see all of you. Please put a 1 in the chat if you're hearing us okay. We have good audio. Just want to make sure before we go any further. But hello, Dr. Whyte. Welcome.
Greetings. Greetings. Hope you're having
Always
a great
good.
week so far.
Great. Your week has been good. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. Wait,
Yeah.
your week? Today's just Monday. So your Monday's been good.
I guess it's felt like a week.
Wow, that's quite a Monday. That the one day felt like a week.
Oh
Wow.
man. But it's all good. How about you? How was your weekend?
My weekend was very chill. I had most chill Sunday, and to be honest, wasn't didn't ha- I had clients today, but it wasn't jam packed, so it felt good. It was a good beginning of a week.
Isn't boredom a luxury?
You know, I have to say, when people ask me, they say, "Oh, what's your self care?" Just to do nothing.
Absolutely. That
They're
is
like,
such a luxury.
and I'm starting to. There's a hobby that I am starting to mentally get into that I'm going to start physically getting into, and that's gardening. So I want
Oh,
to really get into it, but it's like you got to learn so much. It's like you don't. Well, I guess I can learn by trial and error too, but I'm still trying to learn enough. So that's what I'm really interested in. But right now, having a day to do nothing, it's
that's a gold
amazing
mine.
self care,
That's a gold mine. Oh my goodness.
especially when it's a Sunday and I just don't have to do anything. So anyway, what's your self care?
Oh man. My self-care, some of the things I really, really enjoy. I love building a presentation. That is
Okay.
that is fun. Like
Yes.
building presentations. So that's fun. I love a nice walk.
Okay.
So we're close to
Lovely.
the university, so it's fun to walk around the university. Uh,
Yes.
I suppose banter with Florence because she is funny. So
You guys are funny
uh,
together. Yes, you guys are
well, no,
cute.
well, thank
That's
you.
cute.
But yeah, she is funny, and so it is fun to just talk and sometimes enjoy time. So that's fun.
Yes. Well, that's great. Look at my good friend Daniela from Sydney. Just saw her a
Ooh,
few weeks ago. Welcome, Daniela. It's good to see you. What
wow.
time is it there? And you know what, Daniela, me and Ivor are just starting to catch up on our sleep. I feel like our body is finally getting back on like America time, Central
Wow.
Time Zone. But like Australia messed us up. It messed us up pretty good. So, but it's good to see you. Please, everyone else, put where you're viewing from. We love to see where everyone's viewing from.
Shout
But
out
Daniela, go
Shout
ahead.
out to Clint. Shout out to Clint. Clint's in the house.
I saw when before we went live, I saw Clint was on. It was like it doesn't feel like Mental Health Monday if Clint isn't here.
I'm just saying, right?
He's just been here with us for 3.5 years, which is great. It's 11:10 a.m. Yeah. Wow. The
Wow.
jet lag is intense. It was.
That's
So,
wild.
yes, please, everyone else, let us know where you're viewing from. We want to say a special welcome to you. I was mentioning to Dr. Whyte off air that last week it was fun to talk about marriage, but we had some singles here. We had a lot of questions about singles and even had some singles meet up here.
Exactly.
This isn't the
Exactly.
meetup ministry. We actually have a ministry with Living Man at Church. It's meetup ministry. This is actually Mental Health Monday, but hey, if you meet up here, that's great.
So be
And
it.
we're
So be it.
yeah, so we'll be taking your questions about relationships, marriage, being single, all of it. We'll be doing all of that. Okay, we have Beaufort, Georgia. Welcome. They're from Beaufort, Georgia. Good to see you here on Mental Health Monday. And we know that you guys will start putting in the chat as we are starting. Milton Freewater, Oregon. I'm trying to think if I've been. I don't think I've been through there, but I must. I think I know someone who lives near there because I've heard of that before. And then somebody Ivy put viewing from. I have no idea what that flag. Do you know that flag? I feel like it's a
Viewing.
Europe. It's somewhere in Europe, I think.
You got me. Okay, Ivy, you are really showing the limitations of our like. I mean, but Atante, I mean, you were just so well traveled. So, but no, I
But I
can't.
don't know that flag.
I
It's
can't even
giving. It's
begin.
giving Europe. I feel like is it? No, I know it's not Spain. Portugal, maybe. Ivy, tell
Maybe her
us.
her name will clue us in. Ivy Alpuri. So, like, what is that? Like Algeria or? Yeah, that's an interesting flag.
Yeah, I don't know, but we have Paula from Lexington, Kentucky. Great
Hey,
to see you here.
all right,
And yeah, all right.
that's awesome.
Well,
Seattle.
I'm think yes, close to Seattle. Beautiful Seattle. Well, again, just going back to our topic on marriage. Oh, Thailand. All
Wow,
right. Welcome,
wow.
Ivy. You're our first to Mental Health Monday
I'm
that
Thai.
has it has been a viewing audience from Thailand. Welcome.
Okay,
One more.
shout out, Ivy. We are
And really,
international.
Daniela being in Sydney and Ivy being in Thailand, I mean, I know they're not terrible. It's not so far away. I'm sure it's about 11 in the morning in Thailand as well. I have to say, I knew we were close in Thailand when we were in Sydney because I had amazing Thai food.
Oh, really?
Absolutely amazing. I mean,
Really?
even in the airport, can you believe that? It was fresh, like you were in a restaurant. Like the curries were out of this world.
Oh, that's
It was very
amazing.
good. It
Now
was very good.
that's the strongest appeal for travel to me is the
It is
food.
the food,
Yeah.
especially when you live in the South like me. Okay, no disrespect to the South, but
You
but
did
it is
say that.
nice to
Right.
go and eat different food from different areas. Okay, I better stop because I'm going to get myself in trouble here. All right.
Absolutely.
Marriage. Maybe I don't know if we should recap. We're actually taking your guys' questions and we're taking your questions on marriage, relationships, and even being single. And so please let us know what you're wanting to know. Last week was really, really, really good. You guys were answering really good questions, asking really good questions, and it was just a lot of fun to answer them. So please put that in the chat. I think you started with me last week, Dr. Whyte. So I think I'm going to start with you and
Hey, so be it. So be it. So be it.
ask you a marriage question. Goodness, I should have thought of that before. What do I want to ask you? What you've learned in like 26 years of marriage?
Oh, yeah, it is.
You okay? What is the greatest lesson you've learned in 26 years of marriage? I think you're 26. I know you're right around. You're right
We're
close to
working on
26.
26. Next
Okay,
July will be 26.
almost 26. What is the
Um,
biggest lesson you've learned that you wish you would have known when you said I do? On the day you said I do, you wish you would have known what? Or somebody would have told
if I
you
if I
what?
could make a t-shirt, it would be whatever it takes.
Mm.
So we talk a lot about roles. We think a
Mhm.
lot about roles. I'm going to do X and you're going to do X and I'm going to and the concept I find the most helpful is when you marry someone, think of it as starting a firm. Think of it as starting and not just a business, a firm,
Mhm.
where everyone has an opportunity to contribute.
Mhm.
I could have said role, but it's really
Yes.
an opportunity to contribute.
Right.
And
Mhm.
that opportunity at times will be diverse
Mhm.
and will stretch you out of the common way that you contribute. And
Mhm.
it's the most helpful when you approach it from the standpoint of what is the agenda of the firm? What will move us down the road? Well,
Right.
then I need to do whatever it takes,
Mhm.
whatever it takes.
Mhm.
And I wish that would have been my mentality more so, like right from jump, because I think I was more focused on roles and I would have been more frankly, I would have been more attentive, I feel like, and seeing how much she was contributing, because I think she kinda
Mhm.
had that mentality of whatever it takes. And
Mm.
so if only one partner has that idea of whatever it takes, it can be very overwhelming, as opposed
Mhm.
to when everyone in the family is thinking, "We are submitted to this goal." Like, we're
Mhm.
submitted to this goal, and that's what we're really submitted to, and it's
Mhm.
whatever it takes. Oh my goodness. And you're helping one another, and you're seeing each other as partners, and you're seeing everyone just move towards that. That's
Mhm.
my greatest lesson in marriage.
Yes, yes, and that's powerful. I don't want to miss this. We have a viewer watching all the way from Bosnia.
Oh,
So,
that's
yes,
cool.
welcome. So, we're just very international. We have Thailand and Australia and Bosnia. We're just all over the place. It's wonderful, all over the world. Welcome.
And I
So
see
happy
somebody
to.
talking about Peruvian food. Now, for you Americans, we still got strong love for the Americans. We love the Illinois. We love the Longview, Texas. So
We
much love,
do.
much love. And we love the international scope as well. But yeah,
Yes.
we love you all. We love the
You know,
greater
it's
Seattle,
funny.
Washington.
You
Yeah.
know what's funny, Dr. White? You know,
What's that?
I'm not very filtered. When you were doing that, I thought you were gonna be like, we love we love the Americans, which we do, and we love their food. And I was gonna be like, we do?
No, but
Because
Southern
what is
cooking.
American food, honestly?
Like Southern cooking, your mac and cheese. Oh, let's make it vegan. Fine.
Yeah, I mean,
Your
because I'm vegan, I
greens,
don't really do all of that. I mean, if I can make a vegan version, of course.
your
But yeah,
sweet
like if you're
potatoes. I
I
mean, they
mean,
got their
yes,
they
yes,
do
those are
dominate.
awesome. That's
Fresh
true.
fried. I mean, we're not championing like eating meat and all this kind of stuff. We know, but I mean, no, they got their thing
We're
now.
gonna bring Dr. Batiste back on.
Did you know that it's rumored that it's the GI, like, because I don't know if you've ever tasted like really, really good yeah, fried, chicken. What is it from Korea? I think it's like from Korea. Apparently, the GIs, when they went over to Korea, like they gave them the recipes of their like mothers,
Oh, so they
like
can make
so
fried
so
chicken.
that's why it's so legendary and it's so good. That's a rumor though. Don't don't ask me the evidence base. Don't ask me for the
It's a
article
rumor
and
that
where.
you're just spreading internationally right now, but
But anyway, but I guess we're just talking along the lines of food and how interesting foods show up. Anyway, sidebar.
okay. Clint's like, let me get them off of food and back to marriage.
Exactly, exactly. All right, Clint, welcome. All right, so what are some balancing principles we can use for our marriages while raising 4 kids? What are some balancing principles?
Ooh, I think he's asking us, but I think I should answer.
Especially as someone
Just
who's
because
had the better part of 4 kids.
we have, praise God, 4 kids.
So,
Um, so what this is I have to say this is God because from the very beginning of our marriage, and this is before, and we still had things we needed to learn and work out because we just didn't really know everything, obviously. But because we were in ministry, we had heard about a couple that was in ministry and always traveled and was very well known. But they traveled so much, the ministry encompassed both of them. So the husband would go this way and the wife would go that way because they were trying to cover as much ground. They were basically, the ministry was like overtaking their life basically. And they ended up in divorce and it was really
ooh,
sad. So that was a very unfortunate event and a sad event for them, but it spoke to both of us and we were like, we're never going to allow the ministry to take over because we have the 4 kids and we have ministry. So we made it a point, and praise God again that we had family, my parents, grandparents, just family that could always watch the kids so that we could go away maybe once a quarter or just several times throughout the year to have our time together and not just have to always be like raising kids and doing ministry. So I would say one of the principles that we learned is to have time, to make sure you have time for yourself. And as the kids got older, we were able to just go on weekly date nights, but that was later on that we learned to do things like that. And you know what I mean? That was much later on. But just to always be pouring into our marriage by making sure we spend time just with for us, because 4 kids is a lot,
Yeah,
and a ministry. That's a fifth kid.
that's the
We got
second,
5 kids,
and that's the one that's the
and a
selfish
church.
kid.
That's 6 kids.
That's a selfish kid. Like they just it requires a lot. You ever see
Hmm.
the pictures where it's like mom's on this side, then you have the 4 kids, and then dad's on the other side?
Right.
And like you've got to, in my opinion, my humble opinion, you've got to fight
Hmm.
that. You can't
Oh
let
yeah.
anything come between you and your spouse. It's like that's what everything is built on. And you see it going in both directions, that
Hmm.
where at times the marriage can kind of melt away as this tornado called kids will just threaten to just take it over. And
Oh,
you
bless them. We
can't,
love them, but
yeah, you
mm-mm-mm.
can't let that, happen. The other thing I would say is there's something about working with a person in the trenches. There's
Hmm.
something about that. And
Hmm.
I would say whether it's whoever the spouse is, it's like get in the trenches with your spouse, like
Yeah.
wherever possible. Don't let someone else do that. Get in the
Hmm.
trenches with them
Right.
because it bonds you. It really what
Hmm.
like there's a reason that these executives often end up with their secretaries. There's a reason. There's something about a person continuously coming through for you and
Mm, mm, mm,
idolizing
mm,
you and get in the trenches.
mm. Yeah, most definitely.
And it's something that bonds you and it blocks other people from getting in the trenches. It's like, no, no, I got
Hmm.
that. I got that
Hmm.
out the person. That to me is, don't let things melt the marriage. Don't let like tornadoes come in and blow apart the marriage. Like let
Right.
crises push you to gather even closer.
Mhm. Mhm. And I was just thinking about how you said some of your self-care is taking a walk, but I was just thinking even cuz the things I brought up people are like, "Oh, well, maybe we can't go on weekly date nights. We don't have anybody to watch our kids or we can't go away like once a quarter because we don't have anybody to watch our kids." Even if you spend daily time with each other like going on a walk together. Simple things like that. Holding hands. That's very important, like taking a walk, holding hands. Um just making sure that you're spending that quality time and you create what that looks like according to what's going on in your life. It doesn't have to look like what we did or what other people do, but what would make it's what you can do, because sometimes all 4 kids are very, very young. It makes it difficult, but maybe your time's going to be after you put them to bed.
Right. 100%. I remember for our date nights, we didn't have to leave the house, especially with our
Yeah, you don't.
daughter. Like we
No.
didn't have to leave the house. Like it was getting her on a system to where she was going to be down relatively early, so you would then have that time for yourselves.
Right.
But you got to use that noggin, use that creativity, everything you have to fight for that relationship, and it's
Mhm.
fight, preserve that. I call it virgin love. You remember when you guys first started dating? You
Yes.
remember when you first started dating where you didn't even want to be seen in a certain way? Like fight to preserve that, man.
Yes.
Fight because it's a beautiful thing to preserve as much as it's possible.
Yes, it is. All right. We all know, well, Deborah's asking, we all know that in a marriage, both people may have to compromise. But can you name a few situations where it can become unhealthy and you have to stop
Well, that's pretty simple.
compromising?
That's pretty simple.
Yeah,
Violence, that's one you can't compromise with.
absolutely not.
And what's interesting is people would know, well, violence, but then also, and Deborah, this really kind of comes down to what are some boundaries that are like non-negotiables. If
Hmm.
you're like, we don't want physical violence, then you actually have to draw the boundary at things like yelling or
Mm.
throwing things. Like,
Mhm.
if the boundary is here and you don't want it crossed, you've got to really make it like way, way further back. So the person never even gets to hear. And that's where, if you're like, I don't want physical violence in my relationship, then we don't want verbal violence
Right.
because um, that protects it from getting to that point. We
Mhm.
want people in control of themselves. But
Mhm.
no, there are definitely areas that I don't see very much room for negotiation. Safety is a big one for me. I think it's
Mhm.
important for me that the women in my family and around me feel safe.
Mhm.
So safety is important. Uh, that's part of
Mhm.
the reason I personally I don't drink alcohol. I don't want my ability to control myself
Excuse me.
impeded in any way,
Mhm.
or other substances for that matter.
Mhm.
But I know I'm responsible for myself and for their safety. So
Right.
those would be some non-negotiables for me, Deborah. I think respect. I don't see a lot of places to negotiate when it comes to respect. Like
Right. There's
you really
mhm.
have to know this is what I value is respect, and
Mhm.
so I don't know.
Absolutely.
I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, those are areas that just pop up right off the first thoughts for sure. My non-Christian parents met on a blind date, got engaged 3 days later, and eloped. They've been lovingly married 53 years. Wow. They say marriage and life was so different back then. Is that really true? We were babies back when your parents got married. I wasn't even born when your parents got married. I don't know if it was really
True.
different.
I was like -3.
Yeah.
I was
Oh, that's
-3.
right. I am older than you. I always forget that. So things were different back then.
Hmm.
What your parents did is that it worked for them, and they're still married. And hallelujah, praise God that you had two loving parents stay
But
together to
not
raise.
recommended.
Yeah, but yeah,
Not
wouldn't recommend
recommended,
it. But
Emma.
it worked for them, but
Yeah.
everybody can't do that. I mean, I have to do disclaimer. I say the same thing. Like me and my husband were engaged after 2 months. And I tell my kids, and I tell when we're speaking or give that testimony, I tell them like this was for us. This is not for you unless God you can hear his voice audibly and say, "Oh yeah, I want you to marry this person." And we weren't married within 2 months, but we were engaged. We were married within like 11 months, which is almost a year, but still that's pretty quick.
But you did
And
say you
like
heard
I said,
God's
it was
voice,
for
right?
us, but it's not for everybody. Go ahead.
You did hear God's voice, right?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. And I
Yeah.
should add that on. Sorry, let me add that. Um, yes, most definitely. I remember. I'll never forget. I always tell my husband because he didn't know I was doing this, but I just remember like I just blocked out a whole day and I went to a park and I took my Bible and I prayed and I talked to God to like show me different things and um, he gave me peace. So yeah,
Profound.
there's more to that story, but it's
Profound.
not
Now, Amara,
a.
Amara, did your parents involve God? Was it like did God give him permission or did they just get
She
lucky?
just said they my non-Christian parents. They're
Oh,
still not Christians, but they're lovely people.
but they might still pray to God even though they're not Christians, though. In
Yeah,
fairness,
only Amber knows that. I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, they may pray to God.
But the bottom line is whether you marry 10 years from now or you marry 1 year, it's really
Mhm.
wise to involve God in the
Oh,
process.
yes.
You know,
Absolutely. And I guess that is you're right. Of course you're right, Dr. White. I mean, that's the ingredient that has to be in there because if you're even yeah, if you just met them and you hear God's voice saying like, yeah, this is it. Okay, then that's okay, you're hearing God's voice. If you're right, if it's 3-4 years down the road and you hear God's voice, this is the person, then it's okay.
Amber's hilarious. She said, "No, my mom prays on Thanksgiving."
I kind of knew she was going to say something because
Right,
I,
'cause you know the
yes,
deal.
I've met her parents. I've met, I can't say I know them, but I've met them and I've heard a lot of Amherst stories. So I figured the answer was going to be no.
Yeah.
All
All right.
right.
Let me see. So
Oh,
she
a
said,
single person. We love our singles. I'm
of
single.
course,
However, what is the best way to handle conflicts or disagreements? Is it just communication or just compromise or both or something else entirely? Great question. Great question. I would take a quick stab at it.
Please.
So it's definitely communication. The compromise, like what we just mentioned earlier, would have to be extremely minimal, like to what we talked about. Meaning, let me tell you why I say that. If you have healthy communication, you can say anything to your partner in a healthy way. If you're,
100%.
if you are, um, we use what Gottman uses, a soft startup. So you're not triggering. You're talking to them in a soft tone. The body language is speaking softly to them. Everything is just a non-aggressive type of communication. And Dr. Gottman talks about with a soft startup, you get what you want out of that communication because you're not triggering their walls to go up or their defense. They're not like, oh, I'm in a fight, so I gotta, not a physical fight, but a verbal fight. I gotta put my walls up. They don't feel that way. So sometimes you have to compromise, but really, if you're approaching while you're dating and your partner in a healthy communication, you probably won't even need to compromise because their heart is open to hearing what you have to say. Go ahead,
Um,
Dr.
I
Whyte.
agree with I agree with what you said. And rather than the word compromise, I would use the word consensus because
Mm,
you can't say, well, I want the house blue and you want the house whatever color, and we'll make the house purple as compromise,
right.
No, you gotta build consensus, meaning we need a sensible decision that
Right.
might not necessarily be this perfect blend of both of our ideas because the perfect blend might be crazy. And
Mhm.
so, no, we actually need consensus. We need to arrive at a conclusion that makes the most sense. So I think you're spot on as far as communication.
Mhm.
I think I'm not going to take you through a communication workshop right now, but I will
Right.
say communication 101 is a heavy use of what are you hearing me say?
Mhm.
Way too underused is that thing. What are
Right.
you hearing me say? And here's what I'm hearing you say. And that's basically
Mhm.
called tracking.
Mhm.
A lot of times we're so focused on conveying our ideas that we are not really listening to the person, and we're not passionate about giving the person the experience of being heard. I'm telling you right now, it's one of the greatest gifts you can give to your partner, to the other member of the dyad, the other member of
Mhm.
the pair,
Yes.
is I feel so heard. It's hard for a person to resent you when you make it clear, I really and truly hear you.
Yes.
Um, and that's something super important. And obviously, and also when you do that, it makes it clear what you need to give into. Like,
Mhm.
okay, I hear you, you're not budging from this, and now I understand why you're not budging. Okay, well, this
Mhm.
is how I can accommodate that.
Mhm.
So I would say those are things that are really important. And I hope in this little time that we're spending on this topic, RSA, good heavens, RSA 1844. Okay, okay, you go. Um, I hope in this little time you're seeing the value that could go into investing and learning in this area, sometimes spending some time with a therapist,
Mhm.
because I'll tell you why, RSA. Sometimes part of stuff from the past makes it hard to hear.
Mm.
Sometimes stuff from the past will interfere
Mhm.
with your hearing, and you'll hear things the person didn't say. You'll feel things the person didn't say. What are you
Mhm.
thinking? What are you thinking, sis?
Well, I was just thinking because while you're because the stuff could be coming up for them. Like while you're talking, they're thinking of like, oh no, but back then she said, or she did this, or he did this. So they're coming up with a rebuttal, or, they're thinking all of those things instead of just, that's not true listening. That's not really listening. You have to, I was just sharing this yesterday with a group of people, but you have to drop your weapons. You know what I'm saying? You have to come into a
Wow.
relationship. I don't think you've ever been arrested. I've never been arrested, but
I've
they
never
say,
been
put
around.
your hands up or, drop your
Yeah.
weapons or whatever. You have
Yeah.
to come into the conversation, the communication, like empty handed. You're not,
That was really
you don't
good.
have any defense.
Drop your
Yeah.
weapons.
Drop your
Drop your
weapons.
weapons. That was really good. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, like you can't hear the person without that. Like, so
Mm-mm.
it's like, it's really like listen to give the person the experience of being heard, not listen to respond. And you know the
Yes.
difference. You know the difference because like the person's mouth is already open and you've barely stopped speaking. You're
Before
not
it's like,
listening to hear, you know?
and they're like, jump in real quick. Man, that's what I wish I would have learned at the very beginning of the marriage. I wish I would have learned to drop my weapons
Oh wow.
because,
Okay.
because you're just thinking, you don't really know how to communicate in the healthiest way when you first start.
Yeah, because
I
that's what
didn't.
Gottman says. That's what Gottman says. He's like, it's not fighting, it's how you fight.
Yes.
And it's not ruptures, it's how you repair the rupture.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. We have another question.
Oh
What
yeah.
can you do if you're married and your spouse keeps going past the boundaries, such as name calling while arguing? Yeah,
Hmm.
that's absolutely a boundary that should not ever be
Hmm.
crossed.
Hmm.
We keep bringing up Gottman, but we're talking about marriage. But he also um, talks about this specifically as well. I mean, if that continues, um,
You're
you're
talking about
already
the
at a
four
level
horse.
where the respect is not there. The disrespect is there. There's just not a high amount of respect, um, and those are steps to at some point. I mean, unless some intervention comes in, that the marriage is going to continue to get further and further, or the two individuals will get further and further apart. And so, when you're in that type of situation, it's definitely the time to call someone to get some outside help. And I would, any licensed marriage and family therapist, any, just therapist that works with marriages, it's definitely time to get some help.
So Paula, I don't know how often you've come to Mental Health Mondays, but we've
It's
frequently.
Paula.
Is it Paula? Yeah, Paula.
It's Paula.
But we've frequently made references to Gottman, so we may as well just give you the backdrop.
Hmm.
Dr. John and Julie Gottman
Hmm.
are the famous founders of the Gottman Institute, and
Hmm.
part of their claim to fame is that they say that after analyzing even 5 minutes of a couple's interaction, they can, with 93% accuracy, determine if they will still be married in 5 years. And one of the things that they identify, or some of the things that they identified that would contribute to divorce, were what they call the four horsemen of the
Horseman.
apocalypse.
Hmm.
And one of them was contempt, another was criticism, another was stonewalling, and the fourth one is I don't know that I'm going to think about it right this instant, but the bottom line is it sounds like what you're describing is like criticism, and they identified criticism as it's one thing to describe a behavior and it's another thing to kind of attack a person's character. And of course, insults can often not just attack the behavior, but they kind of attack the person. And so they said when these four horsemen show up, there's an increased risk of the relationship failing. So this is why Sister Tante is saying, hey,
Hmm.
these can be signs that it would be a great idea to get some professional support
Hmm.
to figure out how best to negotiate what sounds like a really trying situation.
Yes. Would not hurt. Yeah. And I'm sorry, Paula, that is happening. And
Yeah, super sorry.
yes, it's never no fun to be in that situation, for sure. For sure. Just want you guys to know that we are taking your questions, even comments at during this time. You help the program. You help it go. You help it work. So we
So
love answering your questions. Go ahead.
so I'm doing a presentation on heaven. Okay.
Yes. Tell us about that.
And if you're interested, just email me at info at the Mastermind Institute, info at the Mastermind Institute. And so it
And
bothers
that's
me that
happening when?
Friday the 31st. So this
Oh,
Friday, this Friday,
okay. On
this
that.
Friday.
All right.
So thank you so much. But yeah, I've never attended a sermon specifically on heaven. It's like it's
Mm.
very rare. And
Mm-hmm.
some of the questions, like, what are meaningful things that'll happen in heaven? What will communication be like? What will intimacy look like in heaven?
Mm.
These are some of the questions that we are going to deal with. And why is
Is
it
it gonna
even a
be?
good
Is
idea?
if we can't go live, is it gonna be recorded?
Yeah, email me, and we'll figure
Okay.
it out.
All
Info at the
right.
Mastermind
Okay.
Institute.
Okay.
But so we're going to do 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but we are going to do an encore presentation at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Got it.
So just think 7 p.m. Eastern and 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you're interested, if this is something that you're interested, just email me at info at the Mastermind Institute. But just a topic
Sounds
that's
good.
near and dear to my heart. Yeah.
Sounds great. Sounds amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, we have questions. What if a couple dating feels led by God to get married, but one of the partners still has reservations because of their different communication styles? How to tell if it's fear or something more? Hmm, good question. And I'm glad you're asking, and I'm glad you guys are thinking. Marriage is a huge, huge step and commitment that should not be taken lightly. So, kudos to you guys for really taking it very serious. Do you want us to take a stab at it first? I can.
After after you. I mean, unless you want me
um,
to, but yeah, go ahead.
I mean, again, we only God can tell you. Only God can tell you if this person is for you, and you guys are to be married, right? So you spending time in prayer, hearing God's voice is very, very important. Um, But as a marriage and family therapist, I have to say, I do premarital counseling or even people who are dating, and I always, talk about don't ignore red flags. Don't ignore red flags. Now, maybe the red flags you don't ignore them. Maybe they're just something that you can deal with. And when I say deal with, I mean like have a conversation about it. If you're in, well, I recommend premarital counseling before you get engaged, like before you engage counseling, because once you're engaged and you've like put money down on the venue and bought a wedding, it's just it's very difficult to step away if you have to. So my point is, if there's a red flag and you learn about it while you're dating, you really want to, if you're Christians, of course, you want to pray about it. You can also go to therapy to see if this thing can be worked out. And if you're finding like, you know what, this is just who this person is and they're not willing to change, or they don't see anything wrong with it or whatever, I mean, that could be your answer to step away. I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying that you don't want to just sweep something under the rug before you get married, because it's going to come out from under the rug while you're married, and it could cause some severe unhappiness for you. What are your thoughts, Dr. White?
Well, I know you're going to join me in this and I think all good married couples will raise their hands right now and let you know, nothing to see over here. And what I mean by that is, um, there are so many couples that are afraid of breaking up. Like they're afraid that, oh my goodness, if I break up, I literally have to treat people who, after a breakup, they're like suiciding and stuff like that. And like,
Mm.
guys, let me tell you,
Mhm.
um, what a favor you do for yourself
Mhm.
when you end a relationship, and like, there's really no reason for it not to be amicable. It's
Right.
like this is opening the door for you to be able to find the person that's right for you.
Mhm.
That's a gift.
Mhm.
That's a gift, because so many people on this side are miserable,
Yeah.
are miserable.
Yes.
And yes, there are some rare situations where it starts miserable, but most of the times it starts with like some really powerful infatuation.
Right.
Like more
Yes.
often than not, it's you can't keep your hands off one another, and
Right.
you got just all this love bombing and all this kind of stuff. And
Mhm.
it goes from that to sexless marriages.
Right.
Like,
And yeah,
it's the
you don't
most
even wanna look or
shocking
talk
and
to the person.
counterintuitive thing. Like, people sleeping in opposite rooms of the house and all this kind of stuff. And I promise you, they're looking at and they're
Mhm.
saying, if only.
Yeah.
If only. And so there is
So
this myth that single people
mhm.
have that, like, it's this horrible thing if we break up. No, it is a
No, it's actually
wonderful
not.
gift you're giving to each other. It's a wonderful gift you're giving to each other where
Yeah.
you have another opportunity. I have good news for you. I have good news. There are 4 billion people of the opposite sex on the planet. Good news. There's hope. I promise you
There's
there is.
hope.
There is
Right.
hope. There is 4 billion people, okay?
And I like to tell people too, especially young people when I worked at the university, because young adult, they definitely don't want to break up. But I'm like, look, if this is God's will for you, if this relationship is for you, even if you break up and it's God's will, it'll come back around. It'll come back around when you're both healthier and a better space. I mean, I'm not saying that happens all the time, but you can still put it in God's hands and trust him with it. But you don't want to rush into anything and stay in a relationship that you're already seeing some unhealthy habits. And if it's the communication, because this person said like it could be the communication piece that's, causing so much, that is causing all the issues. The communication piece just has veins that travels throughout the whole relationship. It connects everything. If you don't have healthy communication, you're not going to have a happy relationship, a
So
happy marriage.
it's kind of the
So,
tip of the iceberg, yeah.
and I
So
love to tell people like you dodged a bullet. Like because sometimes if you break up because you saw something and you're finding like several months later you're actually happy and at peace, you dodged a bullet, and you have to say praise God to that.
amen.
We
Amen.
have questions. We have
Yeah, yeah.
more.
Alright.
How do
How
you
do you
find contentment with being single? Good first part of the question. I will be 42 soon and I've been single 7 years. My clock is ticking and I don't have a potential suitor. How can I continue to be patient?
This is, like, loaded
I
with a
know
lot
it's
of good
so
stuff.
loaded. I love it. I love it that you guys are. Thank you. You
Okay.
guys are. That's a very good question, though.
So, first of all, contentment with being single. Look, first and foremost, I think if you're single, then you think about, okay, well, what is the partner that I'm desiring? Okay.
Hmm.
Well, then the next question has to be, well, what does that partner that I desire? What do they want? Okay.
Hmm.
And then let me position myself to give them that thing in abundance. Okay.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I've been married for about 25 years. I am still very, very, very motivated to be a competitive suitor to my spouse. I'm very, very motivated
Beautiful.
to be the obvious choice. So
Hmm.
it's like, I really am excited at the prospect of providing, of
Hmm.
being present, of giving her what it is that she wants. That excites me. Um,
Hmm.
and that it's that same mentality. If I were single, you're wanting to position yourself. You want to say, wait, who is it that I'm after? What would they want? I want to embody that thing as much as possible.
Hmm.
And this is what I mean by when I started my relationship. When I started my relationship, I was more focused on what I wanted. And
Hmm.
as I've grown older, as I've matured, I am now really interested in what that person wants and
That's
positioning
good.
myself to give that.
Hmm.
So that's the first part. So and I guess the contentment piece is, man, put the energy into being that person, into
Yes.
like put that energy. Like, and do I have that? Do I have the spirit that they would find valuable?
Hmm.
All of the things that they would find. Oh my goodness, and you gotta be realistic. You gotta be realistic. You might even want to just talk to a person with those like the person that you're like, I would be really interested in that person. Pull them aside and talk to them. Just talk to them. Be
Hmm.
like, hey man, what is it that you want? What is it that
Mhm.
you would desire? Real talk, no judgment. What would you really value? What are the
Right. Excuse me.
non-negotiables for you? You know?
Mhm.
And I think that a lot of people are scared of doing that. So they presume they know what the person wants without documenting this is what they want and then positioning themselves to give it. I'll be
Right.
42. You wanted to jump in, sis?
Well, this is the same question. I just want to say really quick, and we've talked about it on here, that this is the time, like you're saying, this is the time that while you're single, is to pour into all the self help books about how to become a good spouse, a good husband or wife, and even going to therapy, even just to deal with your own individual things that you're realizing could be an issue. Like this is the time to do that work so that when that person comes into your life, excuse me, I have a tickle in my throat, you will be ready to be that person that they are needing and for the relationship to be amazing. So these single years are not to be wasted. There's a
Exactly.
work to be done. There's a work to be done. Look at it like for you're preparing yourself for the marriage. You
Passionately and do that
Oh
passionately.
yes.
Next, you said,
And you're praying that God and the Holy Spirit puts it on the person that's for you on their heart. So they're doing that the same thing. So when that you come
put that
together,
put that
it's just
back
going to
up,
be
Amara.
perfect.
We just dealt with the first part of the question.
Oh, you're right. That was a loaded
We
question.
just warming up. Come on, Amara. All right, there we
Amber's
go. Then she said, I will be 42 soon, and I've been single 7 years. But the part I really want to deal with is my clock is ticking and I don't have any potential suitors. Let's deal with that. So a lot of times the suitor that's interested in you, you're not interested in them.
mm,
So it's not necessarily true you don't have suitors. Sometimes what
mm,
you're shooting for might not be all that available. And sometimes person might have been adequate, but like the people that you're shooting for. So now let's say, for example, I'm shooting for like a 10 in terms of like, dude, so a lot of the things that come with the so-called 10 you might not be able to deal with. Now, I'm married to a 10. I'm just messing around. Just in case you're watching Florence, right? Right?
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, if you some of the issues that you have to deal with at that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
rating kind of makes relationship impractical.
Right.
And so sometimes you kind of have to modify and realize, wait a second, when I think about the life that I want to live, that's more
Mm-hmm.
congruent with this particular rating. And
Mm-hmm.
when you get down to this particular rating, you might see there's actually a person that you might be ignoring and you didn't really
Mm-hmm.
see as viable, but they're actually viable. They're a decent person.
Right.
And now this isn't to say Piran Mech that this applies to you, but there are people who have broken picker syndrome.
Right.
And some of the and the good guys are boring. Like they like the guys with a little edge or the girls with a little edge, and it's
Yeah.
like there it's broken picker. Like a lot of times like
Mm-hmm.
people have been like wounded from the past. So yet again, you got these wonderful people surrounding you, but you're not interested
You're
in them.
not even interested, not
You're
even
like
looking.
you're not,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any viable suitors. You got like 3 people in the friend zone. You got this other people in your DMs, but you're not interested. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of reacclimating. And again, that might not apply to you, but I think there's some listeners for whom this might apply. And
Most
so that's why
definitely.
sometimes you got to fix the broken picker, get the therapy, heal the trauma so that you
Yes.
can reacclimate to no, it's not boring when a person says they're going to show up at 6 and they show up at 6. No, that's a good
Right.
thing. It's
That's
not
it's a good
boring that a
thing.
person is dependable. And I'm not going to give kudos to the person who they just show up whenever they want. And I'm so glad that they showed up because they finally should. No, you got to
Right.
recondition yourself. So,
Absolutely. No, that was great. That was a great answer to her three-part question.
right.
I know. Yes. Can we please, because we're our time is slipping. You guys have great questions. If we don't get to all of them, come back next week because it's like we're doing a series on relationships here. What are your thoughts about both partners coming to the conversation where you both agree that you're not enemies, you both want the best for each other and focus on feelings rather than actions?
We kind of talked about that before, where it's like,
Yeah.
don't demonize the breakup.
Right.
Don't view this as toxic or awful. And there's one other thing. Like, if you really, really love the person and
Mhm.
they're saying to you, I don't want to be with you, right?
Mm.
Rather than making it about you, like, if you really love them, don't you want them to be happy? Or would
Right.
you rather, nope, nope, nope. I need you to just love me, even though you've made it clear I'm not quite your cup of tea.
Right.
Well, you're missing the opportunity to get to your audience that celebrates you. There's an audience that
Mhm.
celebrates you. Sometimes you just got to be patient to find it, or you have some
Mhm.
evolving to do also.
Right.
But the bottom line is love them enough to leave them and let
Yes.
them leave. Love them enough to leave them and let them leave on a good note. And I got a secret
Right.
for you. I got a secret for you. Sometimes it's when you remove yourself, again, sometimes, not always. Sometimes it's when you remove yourself from the situation and the person gets to experience the full weight of your absence that they
Mhm.
get a chance to decide, hey, do I really want a life without this person or do I want them
Right.
in it? And with you
Mhm.
constantly chasing, they never really got a chance to see what it would be like for them to be without you.
Right.
So just some things to consider.
Yes. Excellent answer. Excellent answer. All right. We have time for one, maybe two more questions. How can I help two of my friends who are in the world and are in a relationship, but almost 6 months and are thinking about marriage to realize they are probably making a mistake? It is a worldly marriage. Um, you said you said they both don't have a relationship with God. And so um it's really they okay. I'm words are about to come out my mouth, and I'm rechecking them a little bit, meaning because I don't want to be misunderstood. But it's not really our place to say that, and I'm not saying that you're wrong. You're probably right. Um, and these are two friends that, like you said, they're both. I guess they're both your friends, and they're in the world. I mean, they're basically equally yoked. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying, Doctor
I
Whyte?
understand exactly what you're saying, and, like, I was waiting to see how you were gonna do it because the question makes some assumptions that
Right.
if you're in the world, you can't
Yeah.
have a successful marriage.
Right. That's
Like,
not true.
the principles of communication, there's a science to communication,
Right.
and
Right.
you could be an atheist, you honor these principles, and you'll be fine.
Right.
Um,
Absolutely.
so that's where just because you're in the world, it doesn't mean you're gonna have a bad relationship. The bottom line is there are some fundamental things. Do you respect one another? Do you love one another? Do you make sure you hear one another? Do you prioritize each other?
Right.
Or are you selfish? Because I tell you right now, there are a lot of Christians
Mercy
who are very unchristian in how they interact with one another, and the
in
relationship
their
doesn't work out.
marriage. Yeah.
So it's not just the world. It's are you honoring the principles that support a relationship and a
Is there
long-lasting
respect? Do they
relationship?
respect each other? Do they
Do they
speak to each
respect?
other with respect? Do they
Do they
show
love?
respect? That's huge
Do they
because they're
prioritize each other? Do they and
exactly
that's agnostic. Doesn't matter what religion you're in, doesn't
right.
matter whether you believe in religion or not. The bottom line is it's like business success.
Right.
Like there are some laws to having a great business, and
Hmm.
it doesn't it's agnostic. It doesn't matter what
Right.
religion you are. You
Right.
honor these laws, you'll have a great business. It doesn't matter how religious you are. If you dishonor these laws, you won't have a good business because
There's
God set up laws. This whole earth is governed by laws.
yeah. Yeah. So yes, hopefully that helps. As a friend,
Right. So yeah,
you
if
can
you're worried
pray
about
for
your
them
friend
and just continue to be there for
or
them and
encourage therapy,
yeah, encourage them, right? Okay. If I ever get married, now okay, this is Robert. What will we do? What will we do if our parenting styles or values conflict? Any best way to handle this? First of all, yes, if you ever think that you want to ask somebody to get married or you're thinking about that, I want you to go to premarital engagement counseling because you can talk about those type of things. Those are the type of things you discuss. You don't want to find out the parenting style when you're in the once you're in the marriage. You want to have those discussions, before you get married or before you even get engaged and say, "Hey, this is what I think. This is how I believe I'm going to raise my children. Or this is how I'm going to discipline or whatever." And you want to have that discussion because that's huge. That's
I,
huge.
I hope they caught the pre-engagement counseling.
I
Like,
hope
because
so too.
it's super unfair to approach a therapist. Hey, we've got the wedding scheduled, we've picked the venues, all of the family have bought their tickets, and we would like some counseling, before we get married.
I know. It's kind of frustrating to be
Like,
honest.
and like that's a frustrating place to put a person in. She said
Mhm.
pre-engagement. So before all that, because counseling might show you that you guys don't belong together.
Right.
And it's an unfair position to put a counselor in after you've kind of stacked the deck. No, pre-engagement. So the point being, Robert, you have these conversations beforehand because if there's no meeting of the minds, you fill in the blank, Robert.
Yes, that was a great question though.
Great question.
And that will be our last question of the evening. I'm enjoying this. You guys are bringing you guys are asking very good questions. Please come back with these questions. Don't forget your questions, and we will definitely would like to answer them next week. But share this link, share it on your social media. Say, hey guys, this is a great program on marriage. Tell them you can see what was done these last week, the last 2 weeks, and they can bring their questions live next week. So definitely share with everyone, even if they're single or married. This is good information to know. So we just want to thank you, all of you, for joining us this evening, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Bye bye, sis. Have a great week.
All right.